All right, the bread and butter. Tell me what you think.
These are beautiful razors. I would not let these go for anything under $1,000.
Ooh, man, that was a good unit.
Absolutely.
Thank you, William. I'm about to get out of your hair.
Storage Wars has been a staple on television for years now. Its participants buy fully-fledged storage units to then sell the items they find inside. The lucky ones actually end up getting a profit of thousands of dollars from these storage units, as we've seen it happening in the Storage Wars reality show. But what do the cast members of Storage Wars spend all this money on? And how rich are they to buy these super expensive storage units in the first place? So let's find out how rich the cast members of Storage Wars are.
Big 4-barrel carburetor. Does that say Holly on it or something?
Yes, it is. Holly Carb. This is redneck for woohoo!
Brandon Sheets is the son of iconic and controversial Daryl Sheets in Storage Wars. Although Brandon was a young name on the show, he stood his ground before all the big names of the storage industry. He initially started working under his father, but we saw later on that he bid against his father in some auctions, which tells a lot about his personal growth over the years. Aside from Storage Wars, Brandon also works as a realtor in Arizona, and collectively he has a net worth of about $400,000. Most of this money came from the show and profits, but Brandon also spent a lot of money on buying random stuff, and that's probably the reason why his worth isn't half as much as other Storage Wars participants.
I brought my son Ivy Jr. because this locker is huge. Also, it's cheap labor.
Ivy is a very aggressive and head-on player on Storage Wars. When it comes to auctioning and buying storage units, he practically forgets about all friendships, which is why he's one of the most ruthless participants of Storage Wars per se. Ivy knows how to separate his personal and professional life, and he takes his work very seriously. Ivy has achieved quite a lot at such a young age because he owns an antique store, Grandma's Attic, which is quite famous. He also has a whole bunch of permanent clients who love to shop from his place, and by being featured in Storage Wars, his business has also gotten free promotions, making him worth as much as $1.5 million.
Musha.
Musha who?
Musha, $200.
Really? Yes! This is a good box.
Rene is a huge thrift collector, and it's in his life and blood. Even during Storage Wars, he didn't let go of his business, Bargain Hunter's thrift store. His thrift shop is actually massive, and he's managed to get most of the items through storage units, so he's definitely a big shot in Storage Wars. Rene never really backs down or leaves a deal for someone. If a secondhand sale is gonna profit him, he's taking it home because that's how business always works for him. And these strategies have actually gotten him quite a lot of money. He's been selling and buying storage units since he was 11, and now Rene Nazoda has a net worth of $1.5 million.
This bull is a cash cow.
Mary has been the face of Storage Wars for years, and her insights about the antiques really impressed everyone. No one knew that she would completely take over the spotlight when she first came along, but the audiences loved her because of her knowledge about antiques and storage units. Apart from collecting substantial wealth from the show, Mary Padian is also famous for having her own antique shop where she sells her most precious finds. And because of this, she now has a total net worth of more than $600,000.
Look what I got us.
Are you kidding me?
No, I took that money we made and I invested it in this.
In a car?
Yeah, no. In a Jaguar.
Jared is one of the very few constants on Storage Wars. He gets a massive check from Storage Wars, which supports his lifestyle, and apart from that, he's also great at picking out storage units that are most profitable. Adding it all up, Jared has a net worth of $2 million, which makes him among the few millionaires on the show. He also doesn't shy away from spending money on luxurious cars, branded clothes, and even super expensive food because he's earned the right to enjoy these things after all these years.
Talaga. 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 Oh.
In season 10, Kenny wasn't just a team member anymore, but he emerged as a very successful buyer. Kenny applied all the tricks he learned from Barry and got hold of some of the best storage units. But the reality show isn't Kenny's whole life, as he also has a very profitable side business. It might come as a shock to people, but out of everything, Kenny actually owns a clothing line called Kenny Do It. This adds a lot to his overall wealth and puts Kenny at a whopping net worth of $2 million. He spends most of his money in expanding his business or financing his lavish lifestyle.
Have you bought here before?
Dave has been a huge part of Storage Wars for a really long time. He's also the CEO of Dave Hester Auctions, which obviously gets him a lot of money. And Dave hasn't just started out this business, he's been doing it for a long time now, and he actually started it because he was very fascinated with auctions. When he became a part of Storage Wars in 2010, his auctioning dreams came true and he started putting more money into his business. And because of his intelligent financing, David Hester is worth over $4 million now, and he's not even stopping anytime soon.
How about you let me do this?
I am. She's at 5. Just jump it.
How do you know that, babe?
Dan Dotson is yet another prominent auctioneer in Storage Wars. For the most part, he does cause a lot of drama on the show, but when it comes to work, he's the best at what he does. Dan Dotson has been auctioneering from a very young age, and it's gotten him a lot of profits too. And Dan isn't alone in this business because he and his wife together earn from their American Auctioneers company. The greater percentage of bids people make on the items, the more profits Dan Dotson earns, so it's mostly about pure luck and strategy combined for him. This has been great for him so far, as Dan Dotson is worth $4.5 million because of the reality show and his side business. Nabil got a lot of limelight from Storage Wars and has since worked in many mainstream shows. Nabil first got massive fame on the show because she bought a storage unit that previously belonged to Paris Hilton, and it got her over $10 million, which is considered one of the biggest bids on the show. Nabil has been a member of Storage Wars for years now, and she's made a lot of money from the show, as well as her businesses and other TV endeavors. Nabil is now worth $10 million, and she spends a lot of her money on buying lavish outfits and living a very glamorous life.
I should be able to sneak away with this one. Deploy the German.
Barry is now a household name, and he's always been an avid collector of antiques. He doesn't shy away from taking the things that he thinks might get him a lot of money in the long run, and that's why he has a net worth of $10 million. He's also a very stylish member of the cast with expensive outfits and bikes. He's also one of the highest paid reality TV stars and even likes collecting cars. Barry owns a 1047 custom Cadillac that's considered a very rare and precious car, so his lifestyle is pretty expensive, and he keeps up with it through his massive paycheck.
Important part is bring cash.
Oh, I got it. I don't need to show you. You'll see when I buy the units.
That's okay.
Justin has only started his career in Storage Wars, and he's already making history by being the youngest buyer on the show. He's getting a massive amount from the show itself, and don't even get us started on the profits he makes on his storage units. Justin has expanded since being featured on the show, and even got his brother on board. He's also bought his mother a house at such a young age and is worth over $12 million, which is a lot for someone who's still in his 20s. Justin doesn't spend his money on random and unnecessary things either, which also maintains his worth. Tom Beers tops the list of the richest cast members on Storage Wars. He's not just a cast member, but has also worked as a narrator and producer of the show. His paycheck is obviously bigger than everyone else, and he has a lot of influence on other cast members because he basically calls all the shots. Tom Beers reportedly gets $1.5 million annually from the show. Tom also has a side business where he's the CEO of Fremantle Media North America. He's also produced shows like Monster Garage, so a lot of his worth comes from that too. Tom never shies away from taking up new roles and opportunities, which I suppose is the reason he's sitting pretty at a net worth of $20 million.